Every city does this. This is not something new. It just hasn't been done to great effect in San Francisco for a while. And it's not about being sustainable. It's about giving us test cases. We had Chris Larson of Ripple just announce a major investment in a real-time intelligence center in San Francisco to make sure that we're using technology to keep San Franciscans safe.
But is that the proper use for private funds?
Yeah, so he gets something up and running, and then the government takes it over. We are trying to build more drug treatment beds, more mental health beds. So we have the private sector contributing close to $40 million to help us with the capital projects, but then government, which it is our responsibility to pay for the ongoing services to keep people treated. But we are facing $1 billion budget deficit here in San Francisco. And so those funds help kickstart something that we're able to continue to pay for in the out years.
I mean, do you think the business community, in particular the tech community, has a responsibility toward the city that was previously unmet?
I think any company, any individual that's had success or is doing business in the city has a responsibility to be part of the community. Much has been made of my background coming from Levi Strauss. That company has been around for 160, 170 years, always part of the community. We have great companies like Gap, Salesforce, OpenAI is getting involved in the company. So yes, companies have a responsibility, but government has a responsibility as well, and there needs to be partnership. And what we did as a city was we took business for granted. And we thought, we can just continue to increase taxes, not deliver clean and safe streets, and they'll stay. Well, guess what? They left. We can't take it for granted anymore. We're not. We're seeing businesses, we're seeing jobs coming back to San Francisco. Coinbase famously left.
They paid to leave.
They paid to leave, and now they're 150,000 square foot lease just a few blocks from here in Mission Rock, which is taking off. Visa, another example of a company that really gets their responsibility to investing back in the community. They're doing a lot around youth homelessness. And so really, those executives over there, Ryan and Oliver Jenkins, they get it. And we need more companies like that that will lift all boats.
At the same time, you have to balance the demands or the needs of these companies. You recently allowed Waymos to drive on Market Street, and if any of you are visiting and you haven't taken a Waymo, you should.
It hasn't happened yet.
Okay,
yep.
So it will.
We're in talks with them.
But there are companies like Uber that cannot access Market Street. They're quite upset about that. So how do you make sure that you don't end up prioritizing the needs of one company versus another?
Well, here's what I'd say. I'm prioritizing the residents of San Francisco. 840,000 people, that's who my customers are. And I want business here because I want them bringing their jobs here. I want them bringing their tax revenue here. And we're going to have conversations. They'll be transparent. They'll be open. We're talking to the leaders of all of these companies. We have talked to Waymo about Market Street, and we're in discussions with them about it. That has not happened yet. And we'll continue to have discussions. I want us to be open for business. I want everybody in the city to know who we're talking to, and we'll be completely transparent about it.
Do you have a plan to get tech workers out of their cloistered office cafeterias and doing their dry cleaning in the city versus, in the workplace?
Well, listen, my job is to create the conditions so people come back to work downtown. We have 36% empty office space downtown. That number is slowly going down. We need it to go more rapidly down. So I'm not focused on the cafeterias. I'm focused on public safety, clean streets, getting people that are struggling with addiction off the streets so that workers want to be back downtown. And when you have workers coming back downtown, and part of creating the conditions, we've created these things called entertainment zones. On 2nd Street, just a couple blocks from here, there is a night called First Thursdays, where we closed down the street on Thursday night, obviously, and 22,000 people were listening to music on the streets the other night. We have 21 entertainment zones across the city in great neighborhoods, and I'm telling you, it's happening. So that's my job. My job is not to dictate to private enterprise how they do their business. I want them doing their business here in San Francisco.
I know former Mayor Ed Lee was a mentor of yours. His Twitter tax breaks, as they were colloquially called, drew Twitter and Uber and Block to mid-market, which now, frankly, is they've all left, and it's back to kind of being a disaster. What did the city learn? What did you learn from those tax breaks?
Back to what we said earlier, that it can't be a one-way street, and it won't be. And I am building relationships with nonprofit leaders, with labor leaders, with business leaders. I'm building relationships, fortunately or unfortunately, with people on the street. And it is a two-way street. There's no more that we're just going to hand things out and just let people do whatever they want. I want to have people coming in. I want to welcome them with open arms. And then, like I said, I want them part of San Francisco, part of the fabric of this city. Because your employees, if you're a CEO, you want your employees liking where they work. I just had one of the executives, the CEOs that I talked about earlier, tell me that they did a survey of their employees about where they wanted to be in the Bay Area. San Francisco was where they wanted to be because of our arts and culture, because of the restaurants, because of nightlife, because of these entertainment zones. And so what we learned is you can't just do a handout without any obligation and responsibility.
So you mentioned the budget and the $1 billion shortfall. Your proposed budget eliminates about 1,400 positions, most of them sort of vacant. You talk about perhaps 100 or so layoffs. And yet you've been criticized for not taking a bigger swing. You've got a sympathetic board, maybe that's a strong word, but a moderate board of supervisors, a lot of political capital. Why haven't you taken a bigger cut at San Francisco's budget problems?
I mean, we actually did quite a lot of right-sizing in this budget. It took us a long time to get in this mess. It's going to take us some time to get out. What I am really proud of is that this budget sets us up on the path, focusing on core services for an economic recovery in years 2, 3, 4, because I do think it's happening. Businesses coming back. There hasn't been this type of cuts in 17 years. And so people can argue what they want. People say I did too much. Yesterday, we had people saying, how dare you? And so we've made nobody happy, which I think might be my job. Listen, I took no joy in any of these job losses. It was a really difficult budget, but we had to set ourselves up. We have so much uncertainty, not only at the federal level, but at the state level. We're seeing cuts that pass through to us from both state and federal sources. And so we set aside $400 million in our budget reserves for the uncertainty heading our way. We had to balance this nearly $1 billion budget by law, and we had to make difficult choices, and we did, and we're standing by that.
Well, since you brought it up, let's talk about that $400 million that you've set aside, perhaps for the eventuality that the Trump administration targets San Francisco. We get $2 billion from the federal government. So, what is the risk there? And do you see the administration coming after San Francisco, which is a sanctuary city like others that Trump has targeted, such as Chicago?
It's all real. It's all possible. And how I answer that question is that I'm focused on San Francisco. I can only control what I can control. And that's why the budget, that's why we really focused and prioritized core service around public safety, clean streets, where we really believe if we do that well, we're off to the races. And then revenue comes in directly into city coffers. And that's what I'm focused on. If I worried about what was coming from Washington or from Sacramento, I wouldn't be able to do my job because it seems to change every hour. And so I'm staying focused on San Francisco.
There is an argument, advanced by organized labor and some other political allies that the budget shortfall is largely the problem or the fault of tech companies like Uber and Airbnb that are suing over taxes that they believe the city unfairly levied. Tell us what you make of that argument.
So just to be clear, all those companies have paid the taxes.
Right.
They just feel like they overpaid, and so there's a lawsuit
and
happening.
Then you have to keep those funds.
And you have to keep it in reserve for if you lose the lawsuit. So I'm not allowed to talk about ongoing litigation. The big thing that I want people to understand, and you all understand this in this audience, is what we were doing as a city was we were using one-time funding from the feds and from the state to pay for ongoing salaries and support, and that's where the 1,400 positions comes in. We're putting an end to that. We are no longer using one-time funding to pay for salaries and pay for positions, whether they're empty or not, and most of them were vacant positions. But those vacant positions actually do cost us money, especially in years 2, 3, 4. And so we're ending that practice. And that's an important thing for everybody to understand. This is not about a one-time litigation. And so once again, I want business back in San Francisco. I want them paying taxes here. I want them growing their employee base here. And I'm telling you, it's happening.
2 more questions before I lose you. Okay. Maybe people aren't familiar. Your Instagram game is strong, like multiple times a day. It's very well done. Did you realize when you started campaigning for the job that it is essentially indistinguishable from the role of Instagram influencer?
Well, you all be the judge of that. My kids, I think they acknowledge some of the reporting that's been done that that I'm awkward, that I'm a dorky dad, so my kids are getting a kick out of it. I'm having fun with it because my team and I, we know that we have to get the message out. We want to be selling our city. We think it's important to show off all the small businesses that are driving our economy, that are driving our city. That people around the country need to know that San Francisco is on the rise, and this has given us an avenue to do that on a daily basis, and it's been fun.
You enjoy doing it?
People ask me what the biggest surprise is of the job, and I say I love it. Like, I love my job every single day. I honestly, I think I have the best job in the country. Not just in politics, and I definitely have the best job in politics. You can talk to people that have been mayors around this. You go to D.C., you go to Sacramento, I don't think they have as much fun as I do.
Okay, last thing. You can really measure the health of a city by the number of construction cranes. And I think we haven't really had that many in San Francisco.
That's fair.
If over the course of your term, you could build one thing, and maybe your name's on it, maybe it isn't, but you could leave one construction legacy in San Francisco, what would it be?
That's a great question. For me, it's getting more housing built at all income levels. So that's a great question on the cranes. I want cranes all over the place. And
we have a long way to go.
We have a long way to go, but I'm telling you, it's going to happen. San Francisco, we are on the rise. We're on our way back. I hope you'll be part of building it. I appreciate you having me, and I end everything with, let's go San Francisco. We got this.